So I got a new sweater, and I I was kind of iffy about it to begin with because it was a little bit um, I don't know, it looked a little bit wild. But new sweater, it says unlimited on it. If you do it up. Anyway, point being is, you know what? I am unlimited, and I'm gonna wear it. So I decided to just wear the sweater. Um, anyway, so a small issue that kind of been playing on my mind for a bit, and I made a previous video about it. I was talking about the attestation issue with the summer jobs program, which is a federal program, and basically pays organizations to create summer jobs for students. The attestation thing is all about checking a box that says that you do not oppose things like abortion, or I think maybe it includes LGBT rights, etc. But I think it was more, if anything, it's more focused on basically abortion or women's rights. And if you don't tick it, then you don't get funding for your summer jobs program. So apparently, about 42,000 organizations, went for the summer jobs program funding, and I think about 1,500 of them did not tick the box and thus did not get funding for their summer jobs. So in the previous video I made, I was kind of going for the market economy or the free market sort of argument for the for the program, in the sense that, well, if you're comfortable with your ideas, and how lucrative they could be, not just in terms of monetary value, but in terms of social value and social weight, or even just playing on the moral compass of people that would sign up with you. It seems that your ideas would have to be pretty good if people are signing up. So but I think back then in that video, what I was trying to say was they should receive their funding either way, and then let people decide if they want to sign up for the program or whatever. But I mean, if you think about the government and the government having to be, and I say have, I don't see how it could be anyhow else. The government should be based on evidence-based research. The government's funding for different programs should be based on peer-reviewed research, on hard evidence. And I think some of what we miss sometimes is that when it comes to faith groups, they're not based on evidence, they're based on faith. And depending on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go, religious groups are, not really based on science for anything, and anything you see in their books or their holy books or in their doctrine or in their teachings or whatever is not going to be evidence-based. And I mean, they can't argue otherwise. I mean, their whole argument is faith because it's faith, right? So I mean, they don't have evidence for why they object to certain things. They may have evidence, but sometimes it's kind of like this dog chasing its tail type of scenario. I don't know if I used that metaphor right, but it's kind of like, well, it's faith, but this evidence kind of supports it, but let it's faith at the end of the day. So I don't think it's that big of an issue, in terms of the free market. I mean, whether you get summer jobs programming funding or not, you should be able to believe in your ideas and the ability of your ideas to attract clients or employees or people that want to buy into it. I think that a lot of churches are, I posted this other article about churches that are closing its doors because their congregants themselves don't see the value in attending church every Sunday at least. I mean, maybe some of them have apostatized or just don't see, and I mean, this would be true whether they apostatized or not. They just don't see the value of going to church. They don't see the value of supporting it in a monetary way. So I think that's indicative. I mean, I mean, at some point you can't ignore everything, but like ignore what is going on with congregants and what's going on with Catholic churches and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, some of them may have switched to other denominations as well. That's a possibility. But I mean, in any case, you can't deny the fact that people just aren't more and more aren't seeing the value in these ideas, or even if it's not just the ideas, maybe not seeing the value in the way the church or religion is structurally run, um, how they, and in terms of tax exempt status and churches, et cetera, that require money to upkeep, et cetera, et cetera. So going back on track, I do not think that if you don't, and I think Trudeau's core mandate approach held water. I keep saying that, and I still keep saying that because I think it's true. You know, if the organization you're signing up or trying to get funding for does not participate in activities that go against women's rights, such as abortion and stuff, that would be your core mandate. And you could have your freedom of conscience. I mean, you personally could object to abortion, but on an institutional level, I mean, institutions don't have consciences, so you could, you don't have to basically have an institution that believes in certain dogma or doctrine, etc. Because institutions can't do that. Um, anyway, so yeah, the funding for your jobs program um, should not be an issue in the core mandate argument. And if your ideas are so sound, then you should be able to attract employees and capital to basically invest in your anti-abortion activities on your own. And if not, well, maybe you need to rethink your ideas. Maybe you need to rethink what you're going on about when it comes to abortion and where you're getting your information from, et cetera, et cetera. So I've decided that the attestation is actually a good thing, and I don't think money should be going into funding activities that go against human rights. I just don't think so. And if you, like I said before, if your ideas are that good, you should be able to attract, money and people to them. If you're not attracting money and people, then you should look again at your ideas. So, yeah, I think I covered everything, and hopefully I made sense. Um, but yeah, that's where I am on that one. Okay, bye.